This is my story of finding my one thing. You know, the movie City Slickers. Oh. You get a movie out of this. Uh-oh. I'll dub it. Wow. Well, Billy. Yeah.
I think we'll probably be better off just
Well,
for those who haven't seen it.
okay. Whoops. That's, you can bring down my voice a little bit too. It sounds a little too loud. Anyway, what Jack Parr, who is actually a Stanford grad, shares with Billy Crystal is what life's about is finding your one thing. And of course he asks, well, what's that? And he says, that's what you got to find out. So this is my story, finding my one thing. Next slide. What do I do here? If I can. Skip one. Homelessness is a death for many. This is JD. He's between a rut and a grave. 10 years ago, I met JD when I decided to volunteer at a homeless shelter one Saturday. I talked to the executive director and said, listen, I'm happy to join the board and use my head, but what I really want to do is use my hands and my heart. She said, great, how about washing the feet of the homeless? JD was the first guy's feet that I washed that Saturday. As I was to learn, his story was very similar to other people, other homeless that I would get to know. Passed from foster home to foster home, started drinking at 7 with his foster parents, started stealing when he was 11, became addicted to drugs and alcohol, dropped out of school, dropped into juvie, got caught and went to prison for stealing when he was 18, got out when he was 23, moved to San Francisco. JD just celebrated his 50th birthday. He's lived on the streets for pretty much all the past 25 years, and miraculously, he's still alive. What I've learned over the last 10 years and thousands of hours I've spent with JD is that homelessness has its catches. First of all, shelters are great, but they're impractical and dangerous. Second of all, food banks, or actually soup kitchens, are great unless you happen to wake up in the middle of the night hungry. And getting off the streets is hard. It's hard because when you're an expert at living on the streets and you're a novice at, I just got my 1 minute, sorry about that, a novice at living in the real world, that's tough. So this has led me to my one thing. My one thing is starting Hope House on 6th Street in San Francisco. It's time to bring entrepreneurship and private sector innovation to solving homelessness. My solution is simple. Combine housing with integrated services with a supportive community that leads to a job. I'm going to bring my 26 years of redeveloping buildings and applying to redeveloping lives, and hope that it will reverse the transition from rut to grave. San Francisco spends over $100 million a year on services alone for about 7,000 to 10,000 homeless. I'm raising $2.5 million, only $2.5 million, to buy a building on 6th Street in the eye of the homeless storm to provide the supported services in the building I talked about. And hopefully, my hope is it will reverse the trend from going from rut to grave. So if you have any questions or have any interest in getting involved financially, please talk to me at the break. And I hope that Hope House will provide, on 6th Street, will provide both you and me an opportunity to care for those who are less fortunate than us. Thanks.